There are three things that the Buddha taught us to do every day. So think about our life like a car that needs fuel to run. Without fuel, the car will not run. So each day we should accumulate that fuel so that we have enough energy for the car to keep running the longest we can. So there are three main ways to really generate those energy. Number one is called giving or generosity. So any acts of generosity will help us to really gain that positive energy. Number two is called keeping precepts or observing self-discipline, which help us to be more mindful about our verbal and physical action so that we don't end up harming or violating one another. Number three is to purify our mind through whether prayers or practice of meditation or chanting. So in order to incorporate that into daily life, in the old days, Thai people usually do this. In the morning, before any breakfast, start the day with the act of giving. So it could be something very simple, whether you get just starting from giving to the animal or save your money in the piggy bank for future donation. Because if you don't have the time to go to the temple or charity every day, but you can pledge the vow and just put it in your piggy bank and say, this is my part of the day that I'm doing donation. Two, before leaving your house to go to work, before stepping out of your door, make a little vow that from this moment I step out, I will keep my 5 precepts strictly and purely until I come back. And then the last part, before you're going to sleep each night, close your eyes, either prayer, meditation, or chanting to purify your mind. So at least if you incorporate these 3 actions in this aspect of your life, every single day you can accumulate those positive energy. Just like any car, whether the car is produced in Japan, in America, or in Europe, it does run on the same gas. So if no matter who we are, at least in the morning each day, that you already start with the mind of giving. When you get out of your house, you're not thinking about taking advantage or being selfish. You already start your day by being selfless. So you will make your day really worthy of your life. Secondly, each day before you stepping out of your house and you pledge the vow that I will make this day that I will not end up harming someone else. So you create more friends instead of enemy. Even though you're not Buddhist, but you can also create a positive society by your action. And each night before you go to bed, if you clear your mind, calm your mind through the practice of meditation, it helps you to see what happened in your days so that you can realize whether this is good enough or this is something I can improve a bit more and what I should do tomorrow. So these are 3 things that can be done in every religion and practice. Normally in Buddhism, we talk about 3 main kinds of giving. The first one is called giving materials, which means it could be any physical object. It doesn't have to be just money. It could be food, it could be clothes, it could be any object that you can give. It could be giving to anyone, from just animal, from homeless to orphanage, to sick person, to charity, to religious facilities. It can be many types of giving. This is so-called giving materials. Number 2 is called giving knowledge. So it can be just regular worldly knowledge, like you're teaching someone how to make a living, but you even generate more positive energy if that giving knowledge goes all the way to giving ethical knowledge, or how a person can live a decent, moral, ethical, and successful life. So that even generates extra energy because just like you give someone some food, a person survives for a day. But if you teach them how to make food, then they survive longer. But if you also teach how they grow their own food with ethical living, that person become a good human for society. So those are the 2. The number 3 of giving is called forgiveness. Forgiveness is also a kind of giving because each day that we holding on to our anger towards someone else, so we end up feeling like, we want to get back to one another, and our mind holding on to that anger and burning inside. So forgiveness becomes a gift that we can give both to ourselves and the person we're holding on to. And it frees ourselves from that bond. In Buddhist context, there are something called 5 precepts. And these 5 precepts are 5 acts that we shouldn't do, we must not do in order to keep us from trouble. So think of it this way. We love our life. And basic rules of life is that treat others the way we want to treat ourselves. So that is the basic rule. So since we love ourselves, the most important thing we love is our own life. Therefore, we should not violate others people's life by either hurting them or killing them. And that also includes not just person, but if we put ourselves into small animal shoes, even they don't wear any shoes, there will not be no beings, no animal wants to be hurt as well. So in the same way, we shouldn't end up hurting anybody or anything, any living beings. So this is number one, abstain from harming or killing other beings. Two, beside our lives, we also love what we own because we need our lives to be comfortable. So in order to do that, we must not take what is not belong to us. So that becomes abstain from stealing. Number three, beside our own life and what we have, we love our own family as well. And we don't want any members of our family to be taken away. As a result, we must not violate the family integrity of others, which means we must not commit sexual misconduct. Number four, in living on the daily basis in the society, what we need to uphold the value of decency is honesty and sincerity. That means we should not harm anybody by our abusive words, by not telling lies, not using harsh speech that make people feeling bad, because we wouldn't want to be feeling that way as well. So that's what become number four, abstain from abusive speech. And then among all of these four, in order for us to maintain our proper behavior, we need to be more conscious about our own activities, and that leads to number five, abstain from consuming intoxicant, whether it's going to be liquors or any kind of illicit drugs. So those things will contaminate our judgment, which make us become easier to violate others. So these are five don'ts that keep us away from troubles. The word meditation refers to a skill that we develop to keep the mind stand still within ourselves. So generally, we always think, jumping from one thought to the other thoughts all the time. And each time we think, it tends to generate desire, craving, anger, jealousy. Sometimes it stirs up our delusions, our ego, our jealousy. So they stir up all these negative feelings along with it and keep jumping and jumping and jumping. So which make our mind become clouded. That means our judgment become more clouded. So when we practice meditation, it's about keeping our conscious stay still within ourselves at one point. When it stays still long enough, our mind becomes clearer. And with that clarity, it allows us to see things better, see things clearer, and also gives us better idea, more positive thoughts. So that's what meditation is really about. If you are going to be to choose among the three actions, I would recommend to start from purify your mind with the practice of meditation, because the mind controls the body. So when our mind becomes clearer, it helps us to generate positive thoughts. So we see other people as friends rather than enemy, seeing others as human beings rather than someone as opponent. So with that kind of mindset, it helps us to be more kind, to be more observant or more mindful of our physical and verbal behaviors, which means the other two comes as a result when your mind becomes clearer. So start off with clearing your mind before going to bed every day. Every action bears consequences. So as a result of these three actions, it helps us to gain benefits from them. So if you ever wonder why someone born wealthier, or more physical, beautifully, or stronger, or more intelligent, these are what we have designed our life for. So for example, when someone being kind and generous, they actually generate positive energy that bring about this physical wealth upon them. But you can start off thinking very simple. Let's say if you cook something and you give it to everybody in the village, the next day and the day afterward, people in the village will feel like they want to give it back to you. So you give food one day, but there are many days in the future that people will returning the favor by giving the food back to you. So the giving also back had a concept, but it also goes beyond one lifetime. So that becomes the cause of being born wealthier in other lifetime. Number two, when we maintain our proper behavior, physically and verbally, it helps us to be in good health and good appearance. Let's think about it this way. When you are upset and you want to hit someone, you wish your hand becomes so hard and tough so that the person will hurt the most, right? So basically, instead of you having regular hand, you wish you have like claws that can scratch people and make them painful. Or if you want to kick someone, you wish your leg would be a lot harder. So instead of having just regular foot, it looked like a hoof. So you basically design in your mind how your body should be like. So which also transforms the way our body will turn when we are reborn again. In the same way as intelligence. Intelligence comes from the mental clarity and the habit to acquiring knowledge. So just like, if you're really keen to study in this life, you get more knowledge from books that you read, from people that you're asking questions from. Plus, if your mind become more focused, it helps you to understand those knowledge better. So the same thing that you have accumulated in this life will carry to your next life as well, as become more intelligent when you are reborn. So when you actually keep yourself being generous, observing 5 precepts, and practicing meditation, you are redesigning your own life to be wealthier, to be more beautiful and stronger, healthier, as well as more intelligent.